you to answer that. If you were the candidate and I was Tucker and I said to you, 81 million.
Well,
What happened?
you know how I'm going to answer it. I'm going to say, of course it didn't happen. Joe Biden didn't get anything close to that. President Trump won more votes than any sitting president in history. And they rigged this election to put Joe Biden in the White House. Period. You don't, Glenn, you don't lose 17 out of 18 bellwethers and win the most votes in the history of our country. You just don't do it.
Correct.
You don't only win 16% of counties and win the most votes of anybody.
Correct.
So then let me ask you again, if you were the candidate. So what are we doing here? How do we fix this? Because all of this doesn't matter if we can't count on the vote being accurate.
Well, if you want me to answer honestly, we could have fixed that on January 6th.
Arrest Katie Hobbs would be my answer.
We could have fixed that on January 6th when there were major problems and a million people were standing there protesting and saying, help us. Congress, give us relief. Send these questionable numbers back to our states. Please let us look through this. And we didn't do the right thing. Our nation failed that day. And that's why I'm fighting. And that's why our election, our victory was stolen from us. And sadly, I think that many of the people who are showing up and are going to be talking to Tucker don't want to talk about election corruption. But I will tell you, I've spoken to many people when I was standing out here who are attendees here. And they're telling me, thank you for fighting. We've got to sort these elections out.
It is either the first, second, or third question that I've been asked by almost everybody I've talked to here. And that is, does any of this matter anyway? Are we going to have a secure election? And, I was just talking to one of the other candidates, and I said, one question that they won't answer in Congress is, what does that executive order do? One of the first ones Biden put in was a government-wide effort to register people to vote. And Congress cannot get an answer. What are you doing? What does that mean? They have been fighting from the very beginning, just saying, we're not trying to stop you. We want to know what each agency is doing. And they won't reply. Well, how are we going to, what do we have if we don't have full faith and credit?
We have no faith in our elections. The real people out there don't have faith in our elections. 80% of Republicans have no faith in our elections. They think they're fraught with fraud. 61% of independents and 30% of Democrats say there's fraud in our election. And this is a taboo subject. The government is currently trying to censor people who talk about the election. You know where I stand. I have done a lot of research. President Trump won in 2020, and nobody wants to talk about that. They want to just act like everything's fine. And now we have Joe Biden sitting in the White House. He was behind the Nord Stream explosion. He is behind pushing war. He is behind a dismal economy. He's behind censorship, and we're sitting here going, we have to be polite, and we can't really talk about this.